Time now for your forecast first. WRBL News 3 First Alert Weather.
Well, it has been rainy and gloomy. Here is a look out in downtown Eufaula. You can see we've got some wet pavement, but most of the rain now still pushing up towards the north. We still have a few areas of moderate rainfall. Low pressure down to the south, and as it moves east, the rain will also move to the northeast. So we'll be getting rid of that here over the next couple of hours. Chilly out there in the 30s to even low to middle 40s. As we look at our day part forecast, today will be chilly. Rain wrapping up in the next couple of hours, 46 degrees by 3 p.m., 44 by 6 p.m. Warmer on Wednesday, your 7-day coming up in 15 minutes. You're watching WRBL News 3 on your side.
Straight ahead memorial services for a 5-year-old Columbus girl begin today following a tragedy that rocked the community. Next, President Biden expected to update the country's plan to fight the Omicron variant as COVID cases increase ahead of the holiday. Plus, a jury in Minneapolis now deciding the fate of former police officer Kim Potter. News 3 Midday starts right now.
On your side, this is News 3 Midday.
Good afternoon, and thank you for trusting News 3. I'm Phil Scoggins. A gag order remains in place over the ongoing investigation of the murder of a 5-year-old Columbus girl. Jeremy Williams was back in a Russell County courtroom yesterday afternoon after being arrested in the murder of 5-year-old Kamari Holland. Williams is facing the death penalty if convicted of the murder of Holland. Williams being represented by attorney Chuck Floyd. He argued if the gag order was lifted, a fair trial would be unlikely. Chief Assistant Russell County District Attorney Rick Chansey expressed concern about false information appearing on social media platforms and authorities not having a way to counter that misinformation.
We tried to ask that it be lessened or our ability to speak broadened and get a little clarification on that. And I think the clarification that I took from the court's order is that the order is going to stand and we're better off not talking than we are talking. I don't want to violate the court's order.
That was a win for you though, right?
It's a win for the judicial system, I think, the legal system.
Funeral arrangements for Kamari Holland include a viewing today from 3 to 5 p.m. at Taylor Funeral Home in Phoenix City. There will be a private family viewing prior to the public viewing. The funeral service will be held tomorrow at 11 a.m. also at Taylor Funeral Home. News 3 will live stream the funeral service tomorrow on WRBL.com. The Muskogee County Sheriff's Office warning residents about a telephone scam. Scammers are falsely identifying themselves as members of the Sheriff's Office, telling victims they have outstanding warrants. The Muskogee County Sheriff's Office wants to remind residents of the following information to spot a scam. First, no law enforcement agency will call, email, or text you about an active case. Fines are never collected over the phone. Cryptocurrency is not a form of payment. Anyone who believes they may have received a call from a scammer is asked to call the number there on your screen. The government says U.S. population growth is the lowest it has been since the founding of our nation, and they say COVID is one of the leading factors for that decline. This comes as the Omicron variant is now sweeping across the country, forcing the Biden administration to respond. Natalie Brand has more details now from the White House.
President Biden is laying out a stepped-up strategy to help battle the Omicron surge, now the dominant variant in the United States.
This is not a speech about locking the country down. This is a speech outlining and being direct and clear with the American people about the benefits of being vaccinated, the steps we're going to take to increase access and to increase testing, and the risks posed to unvaccinated individuals.
The White House is announcing it will increase pop-up vaccination sites, add federal testing sites, purchase 500 million at-home rapid tests to send to Americans for free starting in January, and it will deploy additional troops to help overwhelmed hospitals.
It's the unvaccinated people who are the most vulnerable not only to getting infected, but to getting a serious outcome.
With the pandemic impacting yet another holiday season, the administration's health experts say family gatherings can be safe if individuals are vaccinated and boosted and take other precautionary measures such as testing and wearing masks around strangers. Dr. Anthony Fauci also notes there could be a silver lining ahead.
We're hoping that when we get through this Omicron wave, that we will have enough people vaccinated and/or having been infected and recovered well, that there will be a degree of immunity in the community such that you don't have a situation where it's dominating your life.
But for now, cities including Washington, D.C. are reinstating mask mandates. Los Angeles has canceled its in-person New Year's Eve celebrations, and New York is debating whether or not to have its Times Square ball drop. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Before heading to the break, again, we want to thank you for trusting News 3. Time now to check back in with Nicole.
Well, right now, as we look at our day planner, temperatures only in the 40s for today, but we'll be in the 60s on Wednesday. I'll have your 7-day forecast coming up in the next 10 minutes. While you're in the break, don't forget to download the weather app, turn on the notifications so you can stay connected.
On your side, you're watching WRBL News 3 Midday.
Keeping an eye on consumer news for you this afternoon, the Environmental Protection Agency announced new rules for vehicle emissions. By 2026, automakers will have to produce cars and trucks that average a combined 55 miles a gallon or better. The current standard is 40 miles a gallon. The EPA says the change will reduce pollution while also saving drivers billions of dollars in fuel costs. As the Omicron variant continues to surge globally, Norwegian and Royal Caribbean are tightening mask protocols on board cruise ships. Norwegian will now require passengers to wear masks indoors, except for eating, drinking, or while in their rooms. Royal Caribbean says it is also tightening mask restrictions on its ships through January 5th. What are the best workplaces for women? A new survey from Comparably shows IBM, Experian, and Adobe are the top 3 large companies. The career platform compiled its list by having women weigh in on factors like professional growth, compensation, and benefits. This comes as women still make 82 cents for every dollar earned by men, according to the Department of Labor. For all of the day's big stories, all you have to do is head to WRBL.com. We're glad to have you along here on News 3 Midday. Nicole, I'm sure ready for some sunshine.
I am, and also some cooler temperatures. Here's a look out at Eufaula, downtown Eufaula. It's gloomy and the roads are wet. We had some rain this morning. How long all of this will last coming up after the break.
Hurt by a big truck? 1-800-CALL-KEN.
One call, that's all.
On your side, meteorologist Nicole Phillips has your first alert forecast.
Well, it has been a cold, gloomy, and wet morning, and we're going to keep the clouds with us and the chilly temperatures, but the rain will start to wrap up here. Looking out at Eufaula, downtown Eufaula, looking pretty good. We've got some wet roads. We did have, of course, the rain moving through this morning, but you can see we've got a lot of cloud cover. Here's a look at our satellite and radar. The heaviest rain now starting to push out of the area into portions of Atlanta. Still watching this low that's off the coast of Florida. As it moves east, most of of the moisture will continue to push out of our area, so that is some good news. But boy, is it chilly outside. 38 degrees in LaGrange, 40 right here in Columbus, and 43 degrees in Eufaula. So if you tuned in this morning and I said, hey, our temperatures aren't going to warm up all that much, this is what I'm talking about here. You're going to need the coat and something warm really for the remainder of the day. 46 degrees by 3 p.m. And again, rain wrapping up, but we're just not getting any sun to warm us up. We'll still be in the 40s here by 6 p.m. We'll get to about 47 degrees in Eufaula, so warming up an additional 4 degrees over the next couple of hours, about 46 degrees up in LaGrange. So let's take a look at what we can expect for the rest of the day. Heaviest rain pushing on out. There still may be some stray showers this afternoon, but if you don't get a stray shower, you'll get the clouds. It's not until late this evening that we start to see all of these clouds pushing out of here. So that means on Wednesday, we'll see some sun for the morning, but also cold temperatures once again will actually be in the 30s. And then as we go into about Wednesday afternoon and into the evening, we're going to see plenty of sunshine. So it'll be gorgeous. And because of the sun, we will actually get to warm up, meaning the 40s and the 30s that we have now will be gone. We'll be about 20 degrees warmer going into Wednesday afternoon. So 60 degrees on Wednesday, 61 on Thursday, then Christmas Eve, 68 degrees warmer by this weekend, 74 degrees on Christmas Day. And even after Christmas, we're still in the low 70s. So if you are not enjoying the cold temperatures that we have now, just wait. 24 hours from now, it'll be a totally different story, Phil.
Hey, for the first day of winter, or that first portion of the first day of winter, it feels like it out there.
It really does.
All right, I'm ready for the warm-up. Thanks so much, Nicole. Stay with us right here on News 3 Midday. We are back in 3 minutes.
on your side. You're watching WRBL News 3 Midday.
A jury in Minneapolis is deciding the fate of former police officer Kim Potter. The jury got the case after emotional testimony from Potter, who broke down on the stand while insisting she did not intend to hurt anyone. Potter is on trial for shooting and killing 20-year-old Dante Wright during a traffic stop back in April. David Schumann is covering the proceedings.
I'm sorry it happened. Former Brooklyn Center police officer Kim Potter took the stand in her own defense last week. Her first public comments on the shooting that killed 20-year-old Dante Wright in April. Police pulled Wright over for hanging an air freshener from his rearview mirror, which is illegal in Minnesota, before discovering he had a warrant. During an attempted arrest, body cam video shows Potter drawing her gun and shouting "Taser," before shooting Wright in the chest.
Remember yelling, "Taser, taser, taser," and nothing happened. And then he told me I shot him.
In closing arguments Monday, the defense said Wright's attempt to flee in his car put a fellow officer in danger.
I shot him! Oh my God! Oh my God!
And that Potter's actions, while tragic, were justified.
Dante Wright caused his own death, unfortunately. In the walk of life, nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. And this lady here made a mistake, and my gosh, a mistake is not a crime. It just isn't.
But prosecutor Erin Eldridge disagreed and said Potter violated years of training by drawing and then using the wrong weapon.
An accidental killing is still a crime if the defendant's actions are reckless. It was a tragedy of her own making. And it's not just a tragedy. It's manslaughter.
I'm David Schumann in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Nicole will have a final check of your forecast when we come back. Don't go far.
on your side. You're watching WRBL News 3 Midday.
As we approach International Women's Month in March, News 3 is recognizing the contributions women are making not only to our nation but to our local communities. Remarkable Women is part of a nationwide Nexstar media effort to honor the influence women have had on public policy, social progress, and quality of life. Nominees will be accepted now through December 31st. If you would like to nominate a special lady in your life, all you have to do is head to our website. You'll find the nomination form at WRBL.com. Final look at that forecast, and a warm-up's on the way, right?
It is. You know, it's cold out there. We've got temperatures in the 30s and even low 40s. We'll stay in the 40s this afternoon. And again, rain wrapping up here over the next hour or so. But there's still going to be some stray showers this afternoon. 60 and sunny on Wednesday, 61 on Thursday. And then here comes the big warm-up for us. Christmas Eve, 68 degrees, seeing some sun and high clouds, mostly sunny on Christmas Day, 74 degrees, and we are still in the 70s by the end of the weekend and early next week. Again, today is the first day of winter, so Wednesday is that first full day of winter, and it's not going to feel like it at all. We should be in the low 60s, but you know, we'll be in the middle 70s on Christmas. It's wild.
I like a cooler forecast for Christmas Day, but I will take it. I mean, I know the 74, that's fairly warm, and there will be some folks out playing golf probably that afternoon. I
yeah, using those new gifts they get.
Exactly. All right, thank you so much, Nicole, and we thank you for watching News 3 Midday. Enjoy your afternoon. We'll see you right back here at 5/4 Central for News 3 First Edition.